If you have a $2 million budget and you're moving to the Connecticut coast, you're looking at two towns, but one offers the lifestyle the other simply can't match. The question isn't which one is better, it's which one is better for you. Look, I'm not going to do the standard comparison video where I list square footages and school ratings and call it a day. You've seen those, you don't need that. I'm Chris Giolito, I'm a real estate advisor here in Fairfield County. I grew up near the Westport border in Norwalk, spent most of my life around Westport, and I've been helping buyers and sellers navigate this market for years. These aren't two towns I just studied on a spreadsheet, they're two towns I know from the inside. What you actually need is someone who lives and works in this market every day to tell you the truth about what these two towns feel like, what your money actually buys, and which buyer ends up in which town and why. So that's what we're gonna do today. Fairfield versus Westport 2026, real talk, let's go. There's a phrase I use with clients when they ask me to explain the difference between these two towns. Westport has prestige energy and Fairfield has community energy, and neither one is wrong, they're just different frequencies, and you're either tuned into one or you're not. Westport is intentional. It's a town that has built a very clear identity over decades, and it wears that identity confidently. The architecture, the downtown, the cultural institutions, the restaurant scene, everything in Westport feels considered. And when you drive through, there's a sense of arrival to it. People who love Westport really love Westport, and that loyalty is earned. And it's worth saying, Westport has attracted serious people for a long time. Artists, executives, writers, finance people who could live anywhere and choose this. The history gives the town a texture that's hard to manufacture. You feel it when you're there. There's a reason it keeps showing up on best places to live lists year after year, and it's not hype. It's a town that has consistently delivered on its reputation. Now, Fairfield is warmer, a little less formal, as a town green, a real downtown with a local hardware store next to a wine bar, beaches that feel genuinely lived in rather than curated. There's an authenticity to Fairfield that becomes one of its biggest draws, especially over the last several years as the town has invested in itself. It doesn't have Westport's polish, and it's not trying to. It has its own thing going, and that thing resonates deeply with the right buyer. And what I've noticed over the last few years is that Fairfield has started attracting a buyer who used to default to Westport. Smart, successful people who looked at the value equation, spent a weekend really exploring the town, and realized it checked every box they actually needed, not just the ones that they assumed they needed. That shift is real. It's worth paying attention to. Now, here's the thing. The $2 million price point, both towns deliver a beautiful home. The question is what surrounds that home? What's the energy you're walking into every time you leave your driveway? What kind of neighbors do you want? What kind of weekends? That answer tells me a lot about where you'll actually end up. All right, now let's talk about numbers, because this is where a lot of buyers get surprised they don't do their homework. Fairfield and Westport are not priced equally, and the gap is not just in the list price, it's in the annual cost of ownership. Westport has one of the lower mill rates in Fairfield County. As of this year, you're looking at roughly 17 mils. Fairfield currently sits around 27 mils, which sounds worse until you understand that the assessed values in Fairfield are significantly lower relative to market value, which often brings the effective tax burden closer than people expect. However, this tax situation is a little bit tricky because while Westport's mill rate is much lower, the property values are assessed much higher, and in effect, your tax burden is higher. Now, Fairfield is getting their new mill rate this June, and it's expected to be a mill rate around 19. But property values have been appraised much higher this year, and so soon we're gonna know what the new tax burden is stretched across town. On comparable homes at $2 million, your annual property tax in Westport is going to be in the $25,000 to $32,000 range, depending on how the home is assessed. And in Fairfield, that number varies based on when the property was last sold or improved, but you're often in a similar or slightly lower band on a like-for-like property. Where Fairfield tends to win on value is what your money buys in terms of physical home. $2 million budget in Fairfield can get you something that might list at 2.4, 2.6 million in Westport. And that gap is real and it matters. Westport buyers are genuinely aware they're paying a premium and they've made peace with it. They're buying into a well-established address with a strong national reputation. For buyers coming from Manhattan or the Upper East Side, Westport can feel like a natural extension of life they already had. That familiarity has real value to the right person. Fairfield buyers tend to be very clear-eyed about the value equation. They want a high quality of life, a beautiful home, and a great community, and they'd rather put the difference in equity than in the zip code. And that's not a knock on Westport, it's just a different set of priorities. Now, both towns are on the Metro North New Haven line, and that's not news, but the commute experience is not identical. If you're going into the city even 2 or 3 days a week, it does matter. Westport has 2 stations, Westport and Greens Farms. Westport station sits about 56 miles from Grand Central and typically runs about an hour and 10 to an hour and 20 minutes on express. Greens Farms is slightly closer but runs mostly local trains. Fairfield has 3 stations, Fairfield, Fairfield Metro, and Southport. Fairfield Metro opened in 2011, is newer, cleaner, sits conveniently near the Black Rock Turnpike area, and it runs about an hour and 15 to an hour and 20 minutes on express trains. Now that's a meaningful difference if you're doing this 5 days a week. Parking, station experience, platform access, these things add up over time. Fairfield Metro is widely considered one of the better designed commuter stations in the county. Good parking, easy access, modern feel. This is the part of the conversation it's hardest to capture in data because it comes down to how you want to spend your non-working hours. And the water access in Westport is underrated. Campo Beach is one of the best town beaches in Fairfield County, full stop. The boating culture, the kayaking, the way the town sits along the Saugatuck River as it meets the sound, it adds a dimension to daily life that buyers don't always factor in until they're actually living in it. Fairfield's downtown has evolved a lot in the last decade and is still evolving. Town Green anchors it. There are restaurants that have become genuine neighborhood staples, easy beach access at Penfield and Jennings, and a growing energy that feels less finished but more alive in some ways. It has the feel of a town that's coming into its own, and buyers who land there tend to feel genuinely connected to what's being built. Fairfield's beach situation is also worth calling out directly. Penfield Beach, Jennings Beach, Lake Mohegan. For a family with kids, the access to outdoor space and water in Fairfield is exceptional, and it's woven into the everyday rhythm of life here and becomes a real quality of life factor, not just a weekend thing. Now, one thing I hear consistently from buyers who choose Fairfield is that they feel rooted in the community faster. There's an approachability to the town that makes it easier to belong. For families especially, that matters more than people expect when they're first looking. I want to pause here and talk about something that doesn't show up in the data, but shows up in every single buyer conversation I have at this price point. At $2 million, you're not just buying square footage, you're buying a feeling. You walk into the right home and there's a specific quality to the light. The way that it hits the white oak floors in the late afternoon, the weight of the front door when it closes, the scent in the entryway. I know that sounds abstract, but I've watched it happen. Buyer walks through the door, breathes in, and something just settles. That's the house. That's the one. The homes that achieve this in Westport tend to be architecturally confident. There's a lot of clarity and tension from the first impression, from the driveway to the foyer to the kitchen. Everything's deliberate. When it's done well, it's genuinely impressive. The home that achieves this in Fairfield often do it with more warmth. It might be thoughtfully renovated colonial or a newer build that feels grounded rather than showy. There's texture and personality alongside the quality finishes. Neither is a lesser experience, they're just different expressions of what luxury feels like, and the right buyer tends to know immediately which one resonates. This is why I always tell clients, don't fall in love with a spreadsheet, fall in love with how a town and home makes you feel when you're standing inside it. I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't address the market directly. So right now in 2026, Fairfield County is operating with less than a month of housing supply at most price points. That's not a normal market. That's a market where well-priced homes receive multiple offers within days, and buyers who aren't prepared get left behind repeatedly. At $2 million price point in both Westport and Fairfield, you're competing against buyers who are organized, pre-approved or cash, clear on what they want, ready to move. And if you're coming into this process thinking you'll take your time and see what else comes up, I respect that, but I also want you to understand what you're walking into. The buyers who are winning right now got clear on their priorities early, understood the market before they started touring, and had a trusted advisor helping them move decisively when the right property came up. This is not a market where being passive works. You need someone who is in these towns, who knows these streets, who can tell you on a Tuesday afternoon which property is worth writing on and which one has a problem that won't show up until the inspection. So who wins, Fairfield or Westport? That's the wrong question. Now here's the right one. Who are you? You choose Westport if you want a town with one of the strongest reputations and most established identities in the entire Northeast corridor. You value a polished, culturally rich environment. You want the confidence that comes with a well-known address. You appreciate that Westport has been attracting accomplished, interesting people for generations, and that community has real depth to it. And you're comfortable with the premium that comes with all of that, because to you it's worth it. You choose Fairfield if you want more home for your money without giving up quality of life. You want a beach community with genuine character, and a strong sense of belonging. You'd rather put the difference into your home itself, your backyard, your renovation, your equity. You want your kids growing up with a beach access woven into ordinary Tuesday afternoons, not just summer weekends. And you want to be in a town that still has real upside ahead of it, because the best version of Fairfield is still being built. Here's what I've seen play out in real life. The buyers who agonize longest over this decision are usually the ones trying to make it on paper. The ones who actually go spend a Saturday in each town, walk the downtowns, grab coffee, drive the neighborhoods. Those buyers almost always know within a weekend which one is theirs. Trust that instinct, it's usually right. Both are legitimate answers. I've helped buyers find real happiness in both towns. The difference almost never comes down to the data. It comes down to the life they're building and where that life fits best. That's the truth of this market. That's the truth of these two towns. If you're in this process right now or thinking about making a move in the next 6 to 12 months, I want to invite you to book a lifestyle strategy call with me. Not a sales call, not a pitch, a real conversation where we figure out which town, which price point, and which type of home actually fits the life you're trying to build. The link to book is in the description. It's free, it's 30 minutes, and I promise it will save you months of confusion and missed opportunities in this market. If this video was useful, subscribe. I put out new content on Fairfield County every week, including town guides, neighborhood breakdowns, and honest takes on what's actually happening in this market. I'm Chris Giolito. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.